What's up, LC heads, and good morning. I got up today, it was 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and I actually feel pretty damn good today. Other than some situation I had dealing with some terrible business that is using predatory practices, but that's another video, another time. We'll get to that later today. We are joined here by Advocate of God, Mayly. Here she is. Late morning after, afternoon after. She looks damn good. The point is, I've been thinking a lot about, some of the content I've made about her. I kind of left you guys hanging on her paid gear, her weapon. I was like, I'm not sure. One of her swords gives her, more damage cap. The other one gives her 20% more to the damage, kind of like one of Loga's weapons that really help these characters hit, to their damage cap, especially when they're fighting something that's status, which this girl always will be. And I just kind of left it hanging. I was like, I really don't know which one would be better if you had to choose one. Now I'm thinking about it more. There might be more people in that situation than, I really thought about yesterday. People that, maybe are just getting into the game and they're like, oh, this girl is amazing, and I'd like for her to carry my account. So, and maybe you made a new account, maybe you pulled her, maybe you just got lucky and you pulled her. We did have that one, they did give us a one-step banner to pull on. So for the people that got lucky and managed to get her in the first or second pull, and they're like, this could really be a good character, one to actually feasibly carry my account for a while and help me clear some stuff and just give me more joy playing the game. So maybe, just maybe, I'll go in on some of her paid gear. And I'm sure there's plenty of people out there that are like, whoa, wait a minute. I had to drop $150 or whatever to get both of her pieces of equipment or whatever it costs. I'm not going to do the math right now. I think a lot of people would just say, you know what? I'll throw $50 at it and get one. All right, because I'll throw $50 at it and get one, or I'll do just enough to get one of her paid weapons, and then you have a choice to make. We have the Darkshear Dexter, and then we have the Darkshear Sinister. And pretty much what I was saying yesterday, not concretely, but I was like, I'd probably go for the one that raises damage cap a little bit, but I'm not sure. Either one of them, could be better, depending on how this character is. Well, Big MCC talked about this gear too, and he did manage to sway my opinion. He said that he would go with the Darkshear, of course. And I was like, right, because of the damage cap, right? Wrong. His reason for going with the Darkshear is not just the damage cap. That's just a little added bonus. The reason he's going for this one is because chance for regular attacks to give her favorite debuff, exonerate, extinguishate, something with her favorite little debuff. We've talked about this in the past couple of vids. I'm not going to fumble dick around with that goddamn word, whatever the hell it's supposed to be, every single time we get to it. I'm just going to call it her favorite debuff because it is. It's a custom debuff that only she gives so far. And I'm just going to call it her bleeding effect because that's what it is. It's like a bleeding effect. When your enemy tries to use one of their skills from their kit, they take damage from it. So for me to use my S1, I have to take a couple thousand hit points of damage to do damage to you now. And that's pretty cool, right? Just in itself, it's a good debuff and it's custom. And I noticed that it's always applicable. That is the first debuff that the enemies always get. If she hits a room full of people, they will all get that debuff instantly. And that's kind of the whole point here, because that's going to charge her kit instantly. If you start a wave and all you have is an S1, which will happen, you'll be able to hit half the enemies on the map with your S1. And as soon as you do with the Dexter, it's going to give them her favorite debuff, because that's what this sword does. It lets you give your debuff out with any of your skill attacks. Instead of having to run up to somebody and do basic attacks, this is just going to give you a lot more range on your debuffing capabilities, right? So it's going to make it much easier for her to apply her favorite buff that gives her the most, right? Because off of this debuff, she also has a chance to heal 5% of the damage that she's doing to you, but only if you have her favorite debuff on, right? So this is going to effectively help you spam her debuff better and faster and get it on everybody. And in the process of you doing that, your actual kit is getting charged faster. Because I thought a lot about yesterday with her little cheese combo and exactly how I was pulling it off. The Dexter blade would absolutely be necessary. You know, because really you could probably damn near apple pie off of a large room of enemies with some skill charge 1. If you can just get one of your skills charged and you can hit 7 or 8 enemies with your S1, which is an AoE, all 7 of those enemies are going to get her favorite debuff on them instantly. Besides any other debuffs that you're going to give. And I think her S1 has a chance to blind or something like that. So you hit 7 enemies, all of them are going to get her favorite debuff, and then a few of them will probably catch blind. So 7 or 8 debuffs that you're going to apply instantly. Off of 7 or 8 debuffs, this girl will fully damn near charge her kit. You'll have a couple S1s to throw, you'll have an S2, and you will have an S3. And all of those are going to proc other debuffs. So as soon as you get done dumping whatever you just charged up on her kit will be recharged again because you're spamming more debuffs in the whole process. So Dexter gets a huge edge. Definitely, Dexter gets a huge edge. And the fact that this girl is using like light-based weapons, the crit rate plus 5% and chance for physical attacks to give silence, like that's cool, but silence is not as good of a debuff as her preferred special debuff that is way more applicable than silence, and you're going to get it on everybody. Damage to enemies with status ailments plus 20%. That's nice and all, don't get me wrong. But the fact is we do have other good swords that are holy. Right? You can use the Trustmaster from the Dragon UR arc. What is that thing called? All I know is it is a super powerful light element sword. It's going to give you the plus 5% to crit with your sword. It's also going to give you like some more light damage or whatever it is. It's going to be comparable to this. 20% more damage to an enemy with an ailment is nice. I don't know. Overall, my vote goes for the Dexter. If you have to choose one of these, you're going to want to get the Dexter, because it'll just make your debuff game, your ailment game, just crazy. And I do believe that it is definitely part of the process that this girl is using to pretty much pull an apple pie out of thin air. And like I said, running Heart of the Temple on hard yesterday, as soon as I would throw that S1 and it would hit all of those birds and her debuff would go off on them, I would get another S1 or 2 of them to throw. You know, and obviously her arc works amazing with it as well, because that arc, as soon as you drop it, it's going to put ailments on the enemies, and she's going to charge her kit off of that, and then usually off of that I would throw one of the S1s, and that's going to charge her kit even more. And that is also how I managed to get through some of these fights yesterday, and I would throw like 6 or 7 of her specials. And I mean, I was kind of complaining, like they should have done something like this for Millum, so Millum could actually charge up her S4 and use it from time to time. Instead of just using it as some wild card finisher move here and there, you could actually go into a fight and theoretically charge her S4 and actually throw it 4 or 5 times so she could, you know, actually cap out on it and use all of the MP, the whole I'll play with you some more thing. Like, they could have done something better with it if she actually had a way to charge her S4 the way that this girl does. Because remember, this girl is just charging all of her SCT. Her S1, S2, S3, S4. And I've been paying attention to it. Like when this girl, you know, throws that arc and everybody gets status, you can see her S4 bar just jump. As soon as I throw an S1 and you see all the statuses go up, I can just see her S4 bar just jump. Like, oh, they just got a quarter bar off of just throwing that S1. So, yeah, I don't know what to say about that other than it's just absolutely awesome. And the Dexter sword plays into that combo. I kind of overlooked it at first because I was like, well, it's regular, give chance for regular text to give that debuff of hers. I'm like, she's already given that debuff out anyway. That's not really going to make that big of a difference. I was completely wrong. No, this is going to make a huge difference because now you can spam that status debuff all over the place instantly with your S1. You can hit a ton of people with it, and then you can get crazy SCT charge off of just that right when the fight starts, and then you can use your apple pie on somebody else because this girl's kit will be charged. So I wanted to get that out there. Wanted to let you guys know what my final vote was. It was for the Dexter. Dexter for the win, and thank you, Big MCC, for the assist. I didn't really even think about that until I watched his vid. I started thinking about it, and I went back in there and was still benchmarking and just running through that level and killing everything, really trying to get a better idea of exactly how her SCT charge works off of, statusing people. And, as I'm thinking about this stuff while I'm benchmarking and everything, and I'm like, yeah, he's right. He's right, because I wouldn't be able to get this preferred debuff on everybody by just throwing my S1 real quick, and that is definitely part of the charge mechanic. So I just think if you have the Dexter, you're probably going to charge your entire kit a little bit faster off of hitting people with your skills and spamming that status, that preferred status that she has. Because like I said, that one just sticks to everybody instantly. And also, the other thing I was thinking about is this character's limitation in this game is going to be whenever we hit a boss that's like immune to stun, immune to sleep, immune to this, immune to that. When you get into a situation like that, a boss might only have 1 or 2 ailments that you could actually hit him with. That is going to reduce this girl's damage substantially and her whole capacity, and expectedly so. But here's the thing. I highly doubt any boss or enemy is going to be immune to her special debuff. I honestly think she's always going to have that. She's going to be able to put that on anyone. And we'll have to see. If they drop bosses that are immune to extinguate or whatever the hell this is called, it should just be called bleeding. That'll be a surprise to me, but I honestly think most things in the game, if not all of them, you'll be able to put this extinguate debuff status on them. And I think that's just going to serve her better. It's highly applicable is what I'm saying. What I'm saying is I see that buff go on to people faster than any other buff. So it has that advantage. I also think it's going to have the advantage of actually being more applicable in the game. We're going to run into bosses that are immune to silence and stun, and I'm sure we will. And I think we have before in the past. I don't pay attention to ailments all that much unless I see people like taking advantage of one to cheese something, and I'm like, oh, that's awesome. But I'll have to start paying a little bit more attention to ailments and what things are like immune to what. But overall, even if they cut some of this girl's damage out by making bosses and monsters that are immune to half the ailments, like I said, she's still going to be able to throw that bleeding one out and get some damage out of that. So, end of the day, if you have to choose, my vote is go with the Dexter. I agree with Big MCC. Shout out. So, yeah, just in case anybody's in that situation, I could totally see someone being like, you know what, somebody that just like doesn't even spend on gacha games or something, being like, this girl is so cool, I'll go half in, I'll get 1, right? And then this girl will carry my whole account, and I think the Dexter Blade would be the one to choose. So, if anybody disagrees, or maybe there's something else I'm not seeing, leave me a comment. I'll definitely give you some props, especially if you change my mind. But right now, Dexter Blade, #1, baby. And actually, we're looking at our equipment here. Today was the day I was actually going to start putting accessories on her and actually trying to get some power out of her. I haven't done it yet because I didn't want to scare myself, right? I mean, this girl just literally trashed Heart of the Temple on hard with 40 SC and no accessories. Like, I don't think either of these accessories were doing anything for her in that fight except giving her 100 hit points, 15 attack, 30 defense, and 20 mind. I could take both of these off and I could get so much more stats and damage out of my accessories. I was like, no. We'll leave it how it is today because it's absolutely hilarious to see this girl go around Last Cloudia and destroy everything and pawn the shit out of everything pretty much without having any actual accessories on that are actually helping her at all. This is just her and her two swords looking awesome, just shredding all over the place. So I expect another fun-filled day today, and I just wanted to cut in here and talk about this real quick, just in case anybody's going through it with the decision on which sword to take, right? At the same time, I do feel like they did this a little bit better than what they did with V, right? You had to get V's cane, I think. Didn't he only have one? Wasn't it just his cane for like 50 of those coins? It's like you had to go all in just to get the one. Anyway, the cane was amazing because the cane gives you a chance to poison, stun, blind, illness. You know, it had every single status on it, right? And he could spam it with his basic attack. But if you didn't get that cane, V was not going to status like he does without that cane. That is just a fact of the matter. You're not going to get the same amazing status out of his basic attack. And that is the way you status people with V. You just hit him with your basic attack from across the screen. It's like 5 shots at a time. And, you know, I always joke that it was like a freaking status machine gun, you know. But if you couldn't get that cane for him, you were going to have to spend a ton of SC to make up for it. And it it almost just wasn't fair, you know. This looks a little bit more fair. Just IMO. I don't know. I'd rather just, because I can't remember if that staff of his was like 50 credentials by itself, right? At least with something like this, that it's split between 2 weapons, you could try to pick the one that's really going to help the most synergy in his kit, get it for 25 of the hero credentials, and then you can just go chase some amazing light element sword. And it should be easy to find. We have some pretty good swords in Last Cloudia, and there's tons of them that, like, you're not going to get 20% stat damage to enemies with status elements, but you might find something that's giving you 10 or 20 more % damage to light attribute. And since she's doing light attribute with all of her attacks, it's going to be the same thing as you getting 20% more to your damage because something's statused, if you're getting 20% more to your damage because your element is light. So that can kind of be, you know, offset, right? And some of these other good weapons, yeah, they're going to have damn near 300 strength, and we're not talking about anything Godforce. There's plenty of good swords that you can get to make up for the Sinister sword. I think the Dexter one is going to be way, way harder to replace. So, and again, if I'm wrong, if I'm missing something here, feel free to, you know, cut in and leave me a comment. And, you know, like I said, if you change my mind, I will gladly give you some major props. So that is always a possibility at this channel. That's what the whole point of this channel is. So, yeah, if you think otherwise, please let me know. And I will get back to you promptly. So other than that, everybody have an awesome day. Best of luck to everybody. I know people are going to be out on the hunt today. I know. I already did my daily too. I am not going to wail for her anymore. I managed to get the 2 prisms out of the shop, and I pulled 1 more of her. So mine's going to have an extra 6 bonus SC to run around with. Doesn't sound like that much, but you can do a lot with 6 SC. Like, you know, 6 SC ability stacked on top of a character that already has 80 SC, it can make quite the difference. So I'd really like to have 8 or 10, right? Because then you're getting to the point where you can stack on like a major ability, right? If you're if you're at 90 SC, you have an 80 SC kit, and you got 10 more SC, and you could take a 10 SC ability that really adds a lot of damage or a lot of something, a lot of hit points, a lot of whatever, a lot of damage reduction to an already complete kit. But I'm like, we're almost there. I might just have to be happy with 6 SC bonus, and I know that most players are going to be happy to just get this girl, and I guess I really shouldn't be counting her bonus SC after I just watched her wreck everything at 40 SC. It's probably not going to be that big of an issue, but you never know. Future bosses that we got coming out with, and you know, the pride of gamers, right? You want to make characters as strong as you can make them in the time that you have, right? These video games are a reflection of us, and you know, all that good stuff. So I hope that has somehow enlightened you. I think I just confused myself a little bit though. So confusion for me might be enlightenment for you. Confucius. But anyway, best of luck to everybody. Happy hunting. Good luck on the hunt. And I will see you all out there on the next time I decide to do this. Might be later today, might be tomorrow, might be next month. I don't know. Wild card, baby. I don't know what's going to happen later.